Once upon a time when there was 2.3 billion dinosaurs roaming around the great Earth, not as we know it today. When a young girl was born 65,997,978 years ago, named Vince. Vince was living in a poor mental state. Her mom took mushrooms and cooked grass. She got so high that one night she left her daughter. Her mom was schizophrenic. Vince witnessed her mom leaving her with money on the table too. Days and days go by, Vince not having to see her mom went outside to play in the community's playground. A neighbor of her saw Vince playing in the playground without anyone. The neighbor walked up to Vince and told her. The neighbor walked up to Vince and told her,
Hey young girl, what's your name?
My name is Vince.
Oh, and where is your parents or guardian?
My mommy left out her house and left some money.
The neighbor was flabbergasted. She let Vince stay over for 10 years. Throughout the years, Vince started getting better at everything: good grades, new jobs, and even participating in neighborhood activities. At age 16, she got a job. She worked at a mechanic shop. There she met a fine young man, Rhino. Rhino worked for the FBI and has been there for 6 to 8 years. Vince and Rhino were speaking non-stop until he heard Rhino say,
"What was your life like in the past?"
She said she didn't like to share her past and kept it personal, but Rhino encouraged her and spoke about her life to him. Later, after they were talking, Rhino said his last word and drove off into the distance. Little did she know Rhino was making a report about her life. After the day Rhino and Vince met, Rhino's daughter, Iris West, a former news reporter, was looking through her dad's files he was working on until she found something particular. It was Vince's file. She found it interesting that she published it on an article. The article sparked a media rapidly that the next day it had over 6 mil. Iris West was surprised. A lot of other people were surprised too, but not in a good way. They hated the fact that she had everything in place and had everything better than anyone people wanted her to lose.
All dinosaurs and Beak Book started a raid to find where Vince lived and wanted to kill her, but that didn't happen. When the time came to go get her, some people were backing out and didn't want to go, but some people actually went. 20 people signed up to go. When they got to the mechanic shop, they saw the last car that went out. 30 minutes later, they finally saw Vince get out of the shop, closing it completely. She didn't have that much work that day, so she didn't come out going to her car to get some food, but instead she was about to walk home. But as soon as she was about to get her keys to close the shop, she saw another T-Rex screaming for help. She was about to approach him, but then she felt someone bite her leg so hard it got numb. She screamed so loud she ran as fast as she can. She used all her strength to make it to the nearest house, but then a Stegosaurus came out and hopped on her and was driving her crazy. Then they reached a desert where wet sand was. They all kicked her and suffocated her, then left her for dead. One older dinosaur saw and ran to her family and called for help, but Vince didn't make it. She passed. Vince will always be remembered and always had big dreams, goals, and ideas. Always demonstrated love and honesty. Even though she lived a rough past, she still got through it.
Decades and decades passed. No one saw or cared about Vince's body. Wanted posters were wandering around the whole city, but not explanations. When the meteorite hit, it caused a big earthquake, a earthquake that big that she lost her leg while she was decaying in the sand. 65,997,978 years later, the human population was rising, and people found the need to build new apartments when Thomas, one of the construction workers, was digging to have the right perimeter for the building. He would feel that the escalators didn't work properly when it got to a certain point, so he would ask one of his co-workers for help. Miguel, one of his co-workers, checked if the escalator wasn't functioning correctly, until the co-workers called up for more. Thomas, Miguel, Mario, and Sergio didn't have a clue what it could be. They felt the necessity to tell the landowner about the problem that was happening. The owner decided to call the government so they could take a look, because they were scared if it could be really dangerous. The government was really interested, so they immediately put hands into the situation. They tried pulling everything possible until one day, the construction workers pulled a large heavy rock which was sent to a laboratory and turned out to be a T-Rex fossil, but only appeared with one leg.